It takes 9 months to make a baby, so maybe that's what Brian Mariotti's been doing this whole time, as he formed Thrilljoy in the safety of his womb. I think everybody knows that it's not easy starting a new business, let alone starting a toy or collectible company in a space full of people who already know who you are and are expecting a certain thing. So that's what Brian Mariotti has been dealing with for the past 9 months as he left Funko, which is like $1 billion company, and started Thrilljoy, which is a brand new company, very, very like small, on the ground level sort of business where they are figuring things out as they go. And there have been a lot of kinks to work out along the way. And over the past 9 months, they've made a lot of changes. So that's why I'm making this video, to try and go over as many of the changes that I've noticed. So let's get right into it. 9 months ago in October 2024, Brian Mariotti and his team launched Thrilljoy Collectibles at New York Comic Con. And a lot of people thought this launch may have been premature and that they were sort of crunching to hit this date. But there was a lot of excitement there. New York Comic Con was a blast. Their booth was awesome. For the most part, I would say this was a major success. Clearly, they have a lot of critics because online they have been put under a microscope, and every Instagram profile or YouTube channel is going to be dissecting their every move. But for the most part, I would say New York Comic Con was a success. They launched like a ton of new products, including apparel and their flagship product, the Pix, which we'll get into in a minute. And they had, I want to say, over 70 individual SKUs, which is a crazy, crazy amount of products and a very ambitious task for a brand new company to tackle, but they did it. Now, like I said, this was not without any hiccups or bumps in the road along the way. So what I want to talk about in this video is every major change or even subtle change in Thrilljoy or their products that happened over the last 9 months, starting first with their flagship product, Pix, which I know has recently been rebranded as Pix Panoramics, and I will get into that a little bit more later in this video. But the first thing I want to bring up is a few subtle changes they made to the Pix line in 3 separate waves. The first one being the collectible cards that come with each figure, and the fact that they were not secured in the box and sometimes would move around. So this was the original packaging when they released these at New York Comic Con, and they haven't really changed a lot since then, but the biggest issue was the cards right here. We'll see. The cards were placed inside this little insert, and sometimes they would fall out. Sometimes you would open a new package and you would find your cards slid over here in front like this, just sliding around. I also saw a few cases where they got so shooken up that the mag case actually opened up and the authenticity card actually slid out of the case. So these were floating around the box separately. So that was October, and I think Thrilljoy took notes because by the time products were shipping in December for their holiday collection, they had solved that problem by putting the cards inside cellophane wrappers and putting a little piece of sticky tack on the back so that they stay in place. So the cards could stay in place without falling out. And then a few months later, they made one more subtle change to the packaging by adding this blue film across the front window. I guess this was to prevent the window from being scratched up and stuff. However, it does cover up the entire figure. So to get a good look at it, you do have to rip into it and take this thing out of the box. And Brian actually talked about this a bit at the WonderCon panel because he noticed that people were not taking them out of the box for whatever reason, which was frustrating because his whole vision behind this product was that people would take it out of the box, really look at the details, display it, hang it on their wall, and really like appreciate the figure. And they weren't doing that. Instead, they were asking for more layers and more film and more protection for this box. They cared more about the packaging than the figure itself. So I do find it kind of funny that Thrilljoy took these steps because on one hand, I think it's great for out-of-box collectors because the protective film and the cellophane and all of these things will make your product look better when you take it out of the box because it has extra layers of protection. And for those people who refuse to take it out of the box, they just have more packaging to stare at and more film to look at, and it's a little bit of an eyesore. So I think that's kind of funny. Now, if you know your Funko history, you probably know that Brian Mariotti created a product called Funko Force, which eventually became Funko Force 2.0, which eventually became Funko Pops, which are the phenomenon they are today. So Brian is no stranger to adapting or or making changes or rebranding products, which leads me into the biggest change made to the Pix, which is that these are no longer called Pix. These are now called Pix Panoramics, and the Pix line got a complete redesign, and they are now packaged in single box mystery, like blind box style packaging, which adds for a much more interactive unboxing. It's a lot more fun and engaging, and has a lot more mystery to it. And if you keep watching to the end of this video, I actually have 4 new Pix that I got for my collection that I will be opening up on camera, so stay tuned for that. But first, let's talk a little bit more about the new Pix. Now, these ones also come shrink wrapped, which is good because it makes them even more tamper proof. And this one, as you can see, is unopened and signed by Brian Mariotti, but you have the zipper on the back and the 2 characters that you can pull. And there were a couple issues with this first wave of packaging that Thrilljoy has now corrected or made adjustments to. One of them has to do with the reveal itself, because as soon as you rip this open, you can see the figure that you're going to pull. So in the case of something like this, where you have this transparent 1 of 1, you kind of spoil it for yourself right here before you even get a chance to turn it around and see the actual figure itself. Today, we actually got our first look at the newer packaging because they announced a new Superman figure, and this reveals a couple changes that show us that Thrilljoy is once again making subtle changes and adjustments and correcting some of the hiccups or like maybe even mistakes that have been made. So they're fixing it. First of all, you can see that when you rip open the new packaging, all 3 of the figures will be visible instead of the one that is in the box. This adds a little bit more mystery so that you don't see the figure until you pull the box all the way out and turn it around to the front. The other subtle difference is that there is no longer a common figure. It is now referred to as the hero. Since these all come in limited piece counts that will never exceed 10,000 pieces, Thrilljoy doesn't really think of them as common. They are still rare. They are still highly collectible. So they like to refer to their common figure as a hero figure since it's still limited. And this is new terminology. I understand that common is a very common phrase in the collectible world. So it will take some getting used to, but it doesn't help when the boxes themselves label this figure as the common. Thrilljoy took note of that and they made the correction, and as you can see on the new packaging, they are correctly labeled as the hero figure. Now, will it stick? I don't know. To be honest, the term common is so widely used in the collector community that I think some people won't ever let it go, but I hope it sticks. It's fun. I don't have a problem with it. And if you're asking yourself, like, why do all these things matter? Why does the packaging matter? Why does it matter if you see the figure when you rip it open or if you don't see it until you turn the box around? Why does it matter if it's sealed or if it's a mystery or whatever? And I think what it boils down to is the experience. I think what Thrilljoy and Brian Mariotti are interested in is the experience and making collectibles fun. A lot of us have collecting fatigue, and with these products and with Thrilljoy, I think what they're aiming for is that you're not just buying a box off the shelf. You're not just seeing an item on a shelf and bringing it home. You actually get multiple steps of the shrink wrap and the rip and the satisfaction of that sound and the anticipation of turning the box around and seeing, if you got the chase or not. I think bringing that, not to sound cliche, but bringing that thrill back into collecting and creating, curating that experience, I think that's what Thrilljoy is focused on right now. And I think they're making a lot of smart moves, including probably my favorite product that they announced this year, which is the Pixel. So back at New York Comic Con, they gave these away at the panel. They gave them away at the booth. And these are a 2.5-inch figure, and it says Pix right there on the box. I don't even think they had a name at this point. I don't even know. I don't know if pixels were even an idea at that point. But what they did have is these 2.5-inch little figures, and I don't know if Thrilljoy is listening. I think they are. I think they're tapped into the community. But what I do know is that this is what I said about these 9 months ago in October. And you tell me what it sounds like. Brian, if you're still watching,
I have an idea. Here's what I like about these. They're a really good size, and I think these would be really fun. Not so much on their own, but in blind boxes. I think these would kill in blind boxes. Brian is all about the ultra rare hunt for the chase, right? So I say you take a blind box with 6 characters, but if you make them limited piece count and you throw like an all gold blue or an all platinum blue or a transparent, like translucent blue, and you make it like 1 in 999 ultra rare, I just feel like people are going to be buying these in cases, and I think it'd be so much fun to collect all 6 characters and maybe get that super rare transparent blue or gold blue or what have you. That's my idea from me to you. I'm part of the Thrilljoy team. Thrilljoy is owned by the fans. You said it yourself. That's my pitch, Brian, is maybe throw these in blind bags. I think that'd be super cool.
So now with the new Pixel, these are in mystery box, blind box packaging. There are multiple figures to collect in each set, plus the ultra rare golden chase, which in this case can be redeemed for a even more limited figure, which I will talk about a little bit more later.
You still get the 2.5-inch collectible figure, but they come inside a stackable picture frame, so it's a lot more similar to that Panoramics, the Pix Panoramics style. When you rip it open, inside you will find like blind bag style packaging, which of course is very popular, very satisfying. It gives you another rip, a little bit of ASMR, if you will. You will also find a collectible booklet that shows you all the figures you can collect, as well as how you can redeem that Megapix if you pull the golden pixel. And this is what you end up with. They are magnetic too, so they come out and they can go right back in. Each set comes with a little flag that you can put on top. You can stack them side by side. You can stack them one on top of the other. I think this is really fun. Like look at that.
I think these are so much more accessible to not only collectors, but also like non-collectors or maybe casual collectors, somebody who just want to have a couple things representing a fandom maybe on their desk at work or their desk at home without cluttering their space. They're a lot more cost effective too, coming in at like $12 each. They're stackable, and you have that thrill of the mystery unboxing element and the chance to pull like a super rare chase. I think Pixels are a hit, and that's why I think they might be my favorite product of the year from Thrilljoy. Next, I want to talk about Megapix, which are the 12-inch figures. And these have also experienced a lot of changes over the past 9 months. With the announcement of like tariffs and cost of production overseas and stuff like that, they have put Megapix on hold. They're not discontinued, but they are kind of on hold right now. So the changes they've gone through. So when they were first announced, they were $125. And then when the first figure came out, the price was increased to $175. And they got a lot of negative feedback from the community. They listened, they took notes, they made cuts where they could, and they brought that price back down to $125. And now they are, on pause. So they're not really making anymore. But I do have some questions about some of the reveals we had at New York Comic Con, because they showed a lot of these really cool figures, including like a Jason Voorhees or like a Buddy the Elf or the Mum Ra or the Skeletor. And I'm curious, are these Megapix that we are going to see in the future, or were these maybe like prototypes seeking licensor approval? Will these never see the light of day? Are Megapix coming back? I don't know. But like I said, the Megapix have been through a lot of ups and downs. Look at my arm doing this roller coaster here. Megapix have been through a lot of ups and downs, but it seems like they are not completely gone, because you can redeem the super limited 300-piece Megapix if you pull the golden pixel. So there's a little bit of hope there. Now, the last Thrilljoy product I want to talk about that has seen, ups and downs is Thrilljoy Threads, which was their apparel line. When they launched at New York Comic Con, they had full body jumpsuits. Those were fun. They had baseball jerseys, bucket hats, trucker hats, and some t-shirts that have the wax seal. Since then, we had like a holiday release. We had an MTV release. We had a Scooby-Doo release, and then really nothing since then. So even though there has been no official announcement, I'm starting to wonder if the Thrilljoy Threads are phasing out, maybe discontinued. I think it would be cool if they held on to a few items. I don't care for the bucket hats, but I do like the trucker hats, or if they did like a dad hat or something like that. I know they're into the limited piece count, so making something a super low, like 200 pieces would be cool. The baseball jerseys are super cool, but it does seem like we're not getting any more of those t-shirts. At least nothing has been announced anytime recently. I don't know. But yeah, those are all the major updates that Thrilljoy has faced in their first 9 months. And I will say, I think it's pretty impressive. I think, like I said, 9 months is not that long of a time. They've been a company for less than a year now. They've had some growing pains, but they've pushed through a lot of them. And I'm excited to see what's coming up in the future, especially with San Diego Comic-Con coming up, because they did not have a booth at WonderCon. So I think San Diego Comic-Con will be their first major convention, at least a convention of this size, since New York. So it will literally be 9 months since the last time they had a booth at a major Comic-Con. And I'm really excited to see what they have in store. They also have the Thrilljoy block party going on that weekend, which is going to be like their fan event, like after party type event, and I'm really looking forward to that. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of announcements, and I'm interested to see what Thrilljoy has in store for the future. If you're going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, I will be there, so hopefully I see you. If you're not going to be there, I will be covering as much as I can on this channel, so make sure that you like and subscribe. All right, now I know I promised if you stayed to the end, you would get to see me unbox 4 new picks, so I'm going to add that clip in right now. All right, so I got 4 new picks. I just bought these from Chalice Collectibles on their Whatnot page. And this is how they came, which is kind of crazy. So they came inside a larger box, but they're inside these sealed and labeled Thrilljoy boxes of 2. So I find that interesting that Thrilljoy has them packaged like 2 at a time like this. I think that's really, I don't know if that means anything, but it is pretty cool because it looks like they have been opened, I guess. So they're not completely like sealed brand new. They have been opened and retaped. So they've been shuffled around, I guess. I don't know. I've got 2 Dark Knight and 2 Leonardos down here. These are both characters that I don't have yet. Oh, okay. So it looks like maybe when Thrilljoy sends these out, they come 3 per box, and Chalice just had to open it up to remove 1. So I've got 2 Dark Knight Jokers in here. 1, 2. The Joker is limited to 7,500 pieces, and it has the 1 in 6 chance of chase, which it looks like on this one, let's see, he's wearing the purple coat, and then on the chase, he's not wearing the coat, so he's just in his vest. But this one has 2 chances for chase, because of course, you have the 1 in 6 chance, which is Casey Jones. Then you have the Super Chase Krang, and I don't even know the piece count on Krang, if I'm being honest. It might say it inside. But this one is limited to 6,000 pieces, and that is the global number, which is kind of crazy. Give me a Chase Joker, give me a Chasey Jones. I'll take a Chasey Jones, but that Super Krang, I'm on the hunt for that Super Krang. All right, I'm gonna give it a rip. I'm gonna tear into the thrill. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. And it is, ooh, 7,500 piece Joker. This is the hero. I guess he's a villain, but it's the Thrilljoy hero piece, limited to 7,500 pieces. Very cool. To be honest, I wanted this one anyway. The chase is fun, but since the figures are both so similar, I think I'm okay with this. I like it a lot. I like it. I like it. Each one comes with a card, which acts as the certificate of authenticity. This one is number 1,763. All right, should I alternate? Since I did 1 Joker, should I do 1 Leonardo and just kind of go back and forth? All right. Give me, I'll take Leonardo. I need 1 Leonardo for my collection, but I'd love a I'd love a Chasey Jones. Chasey Jones would be sick. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. And I can't see it. I can't see it. It's Leonardo. Okay, it's Leonardo. I'm cool with that. Number 424. I like that low number, triple digits. And here he is. This is probably one of my favorite. Next to the creature from the Black Lagoon, this is probably One of my favorites of the new Pix line for sure. Look at my green guys. Look at these two green guys just hanging out. Oh man, okay. Really happy with this. These are a lot of fun. All right, let's do another Joker. Are you ready? I'm ready. Okay, here we go. Oh, and it's another 7,500 piece Joker. Okay, I tried. Fingers crossed. This is my last Leonardo. Wish me luck. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. What is it? It's another Leonardo. 2 for 2. Womp womp. No chases for me today. Okay, well, those are my pulls today. Leonardo and Joker. And just like that, that is it. If you're still watching, thank you so much for sticking around. Those are my thoughts on Thrilljoy for their first 9 months of developing. This baby little company is now 9 months old, and I'm really excited to see everything they have coming up in the near future. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay tuned for all things, Thrilljoy and other collectibles and the sort. My name is CJ. You can find me all across social media as Sidekick Ink. Remember to collect what you love what you collect, and thanks for watching.